also, at this point, welcome back to the channel, feel like I needed to make an update to this last video. So here's another one of these videos like I was talking about. She's talking about you're getting 2 stimulus checks, right? 2. Not 1, but 2. And I have not seen any political insider talking about possibly 2 stimulus checks. I think what she misunderstood was the comment that was leaked between Pelosi and Trump about maybe doing double payments instead of doing the extra money for economy protections. So that's just floated. It's just a floated idea. I mean, it's not even in this bill right now. So in order for that to get done, they would have to add that to the bill. Now, the likelihood that the Republicans are going to sign off on 2 stimulus checks, they didn't even want fucking 1 this time, let alone 2. So I find that hard to believe. But, I mean, look at her. She's honestly, like, you know, feeding you this line. And like I said, I'm not trying to be mean to anybody about these. But this is the type of stuff that you really got to stay away from on YouTube. Because if you actually buy into this and believe it, and the way they sell it, you know, like, oh, this is going to happen. Then the reason it's going to happen is because I have hope. Okay, great, cool. Have hope. We don't care. Like, that's great. That's not realistic. So we got to stay away from this kind of stuff, honestly. So the realistic part of what's going to happen is this bill is going to hit the floor next week. They're going to add, subtract, we don't know, to the bill until both sides agree. But they're going to push each other like they always do to, you know, add a little more or take a little more depending on, you know, what side of the fence you fall on. But moderate view, middle view, that's kind of my thing, is that the bill's fine the way it is. It should hit the floor. It should pass. That's my take on it. Honestly, the bill's actually perfect the way it is. There's no fluff at all to this bill. So, and there doesn't really need to be. They can come back after the election if they want to piecemeal something together, you know, specifically maybe just for like protections, and then, you know, throw some small business loans, maybe, you know, some student loan forgiveness, that kind of shit in there, and, you know, put some of those pet projects in that they want to do. Fine, cool. But do that after the election. Just this bill here, just pass it the way it is, right? Sure, I would love 2 stimulus checks, but I'm not a greedy bastard, and I'm sure most of you aren't either. Would it be helpful? Sure. I mean, Christmas is coming up. Obviously, we could use the extra money. But realistically, I really wish that YouTube, you know, personalities like this in the last video, I'm not shitting on them at all. I'm just saying, like, this hurts people because there are enough people out there that are like, oh, and then they start spreading that around. It's not a good thing. And then especially when it doesn't happen, they're like, oh, you know, it's not good to get people's hope, especially during an economic crisis and during a pandemic, especially this close to Christmas. Giving people false hope, I don't know why, but it's a pet peeve of mine. It really irritates me. It's just the way that I am. I rather, you know, tell you to your face, look, this is going to happen. This is what's going to happen. I'm sorry. That's just me. So, yeah, I bet I could falsify all my videos and say, oh, yeah, you know, they're going to throw in a Toyota Corolla, too, while they're at it, you know. They're not Oprah. I mean, it's the government. Just saying, you know. So, with that being said, something else that kind of caught my eye was, so this week was the largest number of unemployment claims since this pandemic started. So, in the last videos was telling you, I wouldn't be surprised if we saw more jobs lost. Well, there you go. I know my stuff, you know. I pay very close attention to the economy, and I can normally make some pretty decent predictions. Now, am I an expert? Not by any means. No, I'm not an expert. But I've done it enough in my life to know, hey, guess what? This is possibly not, it's going to. I don't ever give anybody guarantees. And I'm not a Sith. I don't, you know, only deal in absolutes. I give you the most realistic possible, you know, scenario of what's going to happen. I said this in my last videos. We're going to see more jobs lost, and it's going to actually increase because people are not buying shit right now. Why do you think that they're trying to scramble to pass a bill now? Because they're seeing exactly what I said weeks ago. You're going to see more jobs lost. It's just going to get worse, and it's going to lead into Christmas to the point where we're going to lose another, and I said it, 2 or 3 million jobs by the end of September. Guess what? We're a million away from that number that I said. Just saying, you know. So yeah, they got to pass something at this point. If you pay close attention to what's actually going on, you'll see this week, biggest number since the pandemic started of jobs lost. And then next week is looking even worse because we're down another 6% on top of the 11% in sales. That's a big number. If you think back to the swine flu problem, sales were never down 13%. So that should tell you something right there. So just keep that in mind. With that coming up, and I really want to know what you guys, are definitely feeling and thinking right now. So definitely leave some comments below, and let's just see what happens. I'm not going to give you guys false hope. I definitely don't want to lead you on. I want to try to give you the most realistic possible, side of things. And are both parties to blame? You bet your ass. Both parties are to blame for the situation we find ourselves in economically. We can blame Trump for the COVID being a problem that it is, that he didn't act fast enough. Fine. You blame who you want to blame, but at the end of the day, both sides are definitely to blame for the economic problem. Both parties should have came together back in May and created a bill together, not leaving it up to House Democrats to make a giant bill that was never going to pass and say it was a negotiation. We knew it wasn't. And definitely not the Republican side coming back with peanuts and saying, deal with it. That is not how we should be doing shit, folks. It's just not. Both sides to blame. But that's just my 2 cents. So definitely, if you like the video, hit like. If you want to get more, hit subscribe and the notification button. And we'll definitely get you on the next video, guys. Have a good weekend.